Margaret was 67 when she dismissed what she thought was indigestion after dinner. 3 hours later, she was fighting for her life in the emergency room. The shocking truth? What Margaret experienced wasn't indigestion at all, but a massive heart attack that could have been prevented if she had recognized the warning signs that women over 60 routinely ignore. Here's what will terrify you: every 34 seconds, someone in America dies from heart disease, and women over 60 are 3 times more likely to miss the early warning signs compared to men. But here's the most disturbing part: the fourth symptom I'm about to reveal can kill you in just 10 minutes, yet 89% of women dismiss it as something completely harmless. If you're a woman over 60, or you love someone who is, the next few minutes could literally save a life. I'm going to reveal 5 heart attack symptoms women over 60 ignore that could mean the difference between life and death. These aren't the obvious chest-clutching symptoms you see in movies. These are the silent killers that strike without warning. Heart attack symptoms in women over 60 are drastically different from what most people expect, and this dangerous misconception is costing lives every single day. While men typically experience the classic Hollywood heart attack with crushing chest pain, women, especially those over 60, often experience what doctors call silent heart attacks, cardiac events that masquerade as everyday discomforts. Here's something that will shock you: medical research from the American Heart Association reveals that women are twice as likely as men to die from their first heart attack, and the reason isn't biological. It's because women consistently misinterpret or completely ignore the warning signs their bodies are desperately trying to send them. But here's what's even more alarming, and this goes against everything you've been told about heart health. Many of the symptoms women experience aren't even felt in the chest area. They're felt in places you would never associate with your heart, which is why they're so easily dismissed as something else entirely. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 critical warning signs that could save your life or the life of someone you love. These aren't theoretical symptoms from textbooks. These are real warning signs that real women experienced in the days, hours, and minutes before their heart attacks. By the time you finish watching, you'll know exactly what to look for and, more importantly, what action to take immediately if you experience any of these symptoms. The fourth symptom on this list is particularly dangerous because it can progress from mild discomfort to cardiac arrest in less than 10 minutes, yet most women attribute it to aging or stress. Don't make that potentially fatal mistake. Symptom number 1: unusual fatigue that feels different. The first warning sign that women over 60 consistently ignore is unusual fatigue that seems to come from nowhere. Now, I'm not talking about feeling tired after a busy day or needing an afternoon nap. This is a bone-deep exhaustion that makes simple tasks feel overwhelming. Dr. Sarah Chin, a cardiologist at Johns Hopkins, describes this fatigue as the kind that makes brushing your teeth feel like running a marathon. In her research following 2,400 women who survived heart attacks, 71% reported experiencing this unusual fatigue in the weeks leading up to their cardiac event. The most telling detail? This fatigue was different from anything they had experienced before. Here's what makes this symptom so deceptive: it doesn't happen suddenly. It creeps up gradually over days or weeks, which is why women often attribute it to getting older, not sleeping well, or stress from life changes. Eleanor, a 63-year-old teacher from Ohio, told me she started feeling so exhausted that she could barely make it through her morning routine. She assumed it was because she wasn't sleeping well due to menopause-related hot flashes. The fatigue became so severe that she started taking naps between classes, something she had never done in her 30-year teaching career. Her family suggested she see a doctor about her sleep issues, but Eleanor kept postponing the appointment, thinking she just needed to push through it. 2 weeks later, she collapsed in her classroom from a massive heart attack. What Eleanor didn't know is that her heart was already struggling to pump blood effectively, forcing her body to work harder for every basic function. This type of fatigue is your heart's cry for help, sending a clear message that it can't keep up with your body's demands for oxygen-rich blood. The difference between normal tiredness and heart-related fatigue is crucial to understand. Normal fatigue improves with rest and has an identifiable cause: you worked late, exercised hard, or didn't sleep well the night before. Heart-related fatigue, however, doesn't improve significantly with rest and seems disproportionate to your activity level. If you're experiencing unusual fatigue that makes routine activities feel exhausting, especially if it's accompanied by any other symptoms on this list, don't wait. This could be your heart sending you an early warning that could save your life. Now, before I reveal the second symptom, I want you to do something important. If this information is already opening your eyes to warning signs you might have ignored, hit that subscribe button right now. I regularly share life-saving health information specifically for people over 60, and you don't want to miss content that could literally save your life or the life of someone you love. Symptom number 2, mysterious nausea and digestive issues. The second warning sign that women over 60 frequently dismiss is persistent nausea accompanied by digestive problems that seem to have no obvious cause. This symptom is particularly dangerous because it's almost never associated with heart problems, yet it's one of the most common early warning signs of heart attacks in older women. Recent studies published in the Journal of Women's Health show that 62% of women who suffered heart attacks experienced nausea or stomach discomfort in the month leading up to their cardiac event. The problem? Nearly all of them attributed these symptoms to something they ate, acid reflux, or a stomach bug. Listen to Patricia's story. At 65, she started experiencing waves of nausea that would hit her without warning, usually accompanied by a feeling of fullness in her stomach even when she hadn't eaten much. She assumed she was developing a sensitive stomach due to medications she was taking for arthritis. The nausea would come and go, sometimes lasting for hours. Patricia visited her family doctor twice, convinced she had developed a stomach ulcer or gastritis. Both times, she was prescribed antacids and told to monitor her diet. The nausea persisted for 3 weeks, often accompanied by a strange metallic taste in her mouth and occasional vomiting. Patricia actually thanked her doctor for the stomach medication, thinking it was helping because the nausea would sometimes subside for a day or two. What Patricia and her doctor didn't realize is that her heart was sending distress signals through what's called the vagus nerve, which connects the heart to the digestive system. When the heart isn't getting enough oxygen due to blocked arteries, it can trigger nausea, stomach pain, and even vomiting as a warning sign. The breakthrough moment came when Patricia experienced nausea so severe she couldn't keep any food down for 2 consecutive days. Her daughter insisted on taking her to the emergency room, where an EKG immediately revealed that Patricia was in the middle of a heart attack. The emergency room physician told her family that she had likely been having small heart attacks for weeks, with her body sending warning signals through her digestive system. Here's what makes this symptom particularly tricky. The nausea associated with heart problems in women over 60 often comes with specific characteristics that differentiate it from stomach-related nausea. Heart-related nausea typically occurs without an obvious trigger, doesn't improve significantly with antacids or stomach medications, and is often accompanied by a feeling of fullness or pressure in the upper abdomen. The nausea might also be accompanied by what doctors call referred pain discomfort that originates in the heart but is felt in the stomach area. Some women describe it as feeling like severe indigestion that won't go away, or a persistent feeling that something is not right in their upper abdomen. If you're experiencing unexplained nausea, especially if it's persistent and doesn't respond to typical stomach remedies, don't assume it's a digestive issue. This could be your heart calling for help through your digestive system. Symptom number 3, sudden shortness of breath during normal activities. The third warning sign is sudden shortness of breath during activities that normally wouldn't challenge you. This isn't the breathlessness you might feel after climbing several flights of stairs or exercising vigorously. This is feeling winded while doing routine tasks like making your bed, walking to the mailbox, or even having a conversation. Cardiovascular research from the Mayo Clinic reveals that 58% of women over 60 who experienced heart attacks reported shortness of breath as their primary symptom, yet only 23% of them sought immediate medical attention because they attributed it to being out of shape or aging. Let me share Rose's experience. At 69, Rose had always been active, walking her dog twice daily and maintaining her garden without any problems. Over the course of 2 weeks, she noticed she was becoming winded while doing simple household tasks. Walking up the single flight of stairs to her bedroom left her breathless and needing to sit down for several minutes. Rose convinced herself she was just getting older and needed to accept that her stamina wasn't what it used to be. She started avoiding activities that made her breathless, including her daily walks with her dog. Her daughter noticed Rose seemed to be moving more slowly and asked if she was feeling all right. Rose dismissed her concerns, saying she was just slowing down with age. The warning signs escalated when Rose became breathless while folding laundry, an activity that required minimal physical exertion. She found herself sitting down frequently and taking breaks during tasks she had always completed easily. The most alarming incident occurred when she became short of breath while talking on the phone with her sister, something that had never happened before. What Rose didn't understand is that her heart was struggling to pump enough oxygenated blood to meet her body's needs, even during minimal physical activity. When the heart muscle isn't receiving adequate blood flow due to blocked coronary arteries, it can't function efficiently, leading to shortness of breath during activities that shouldn't be challenging. The turning point came when Rose's neighbor found her sitting on her front steps, unable to catch her breath after walking to retrieve her mail. The neighbor insisted on calling an ambulance, and Rose was diagnosed with significant blockages in 2 major coronary arteries. The emergency room physician explained that her shortness of breath was her heart's way of signaling that it was working overtime to try to meet her body's oxygen demands. Here's what you need to understand about heart-related shortness of breath. It typically develops gradually over days or weeks, gets progressively worse, and occurs with activities that didn't previously cause breathing difficulties. Unlike shortness of breath from lung conditions, heart-related breathlessness often improves when you're lying flat but worsens when you're upright and active. The medical term for this is dyspnea, and it's one of the most reliable early warning signs of heart problems in women over 60. If you're finding yourself short of breath during routine activities, especially if this is a new development, your heart may be crying out for attention. This is such critical information that I want to pause here and ask you to do something. Take a moment right now to think about whether you or someone you love has experienced any of these symptoms. If so, please share this video with them immediately. And while you're at it, let me know in the comments what city or country you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers around the world who are taking charge of their health. Symptom number 4, sudden dizziness or lightheadedness, the critical one. Now we come to the fourth and most dangerous symptom, sudden dizziness or lightheadedness that seems to come from nowhere. This is the symptom that can progress from mild discomfort to cardiac arrest in less than 10 minutes, yet 89% of women dismiss it as dehydration, low blood sugar, or getting up too quickly. Emergency medicine research shows that sudden dizziness in women over 60 is one of the strongest predictors of an imminent heart attack, yet it's the symptom most likely to be ignored or misattributed to other causes. The reason this symptom is so dangerous is that it often indicates that your heart rhythm is becoming unstable, which can lead to sudden cardiac arrest. Let me tell you about Linda's terrifying experience. At 61, Linda was preparing dinner when she suddenly felt dizzy and lightheaded. She grabbed the kitchen counter to steady herself, thinking she had stood up too quickly from bending over the oven. The dizziness passed after about 30 seconds, so she continued cooking. Over the next hour, Linda experienced 3 more episodes of dizziness, each one slightly more intense than the last. She attributed them to not eating enough that day and decided to have a snack. The dizziness seemed to improve after eating, which reinforced her belief that low blood sugar was the culprit. That evening, while watching television, Linda experienced the most severe dizzy spell yet. This time, it was accompanied by a feeling that she might faint. She called her daughter, who suggested she drink some water and rest. Linda followed this advice and felt somewhat better, so she decided to go to bed early. Here's where Linda's story takes a frightening turn. At 2 a.m., she woke up feeling extremely dizzy and nauseous. As she tried to get out of bed to go to the bathroom, she collapsed. Fortunately, the noise woke her husband, who immediately called 911. The paramedics arrived to find Linda in cardiac arrest. The emergency room physician later explained that Linda's dizziness was caused by dangerous heart rhythm abnormalities called arrhythmias. Her heart was beating irregularly, causing inadequate blood flow to her brain, which resulted in the dizziness. The progression from mild dizziness to cardiac arrest happened over just 8 hours. What makes this symptom so treacherous is that dizziness has many innocent causes, which is why women consistently dismiss it. However, heart-related dizziness has specific characteristics that differentiate it from other types of dizziness. Heart-related dizziness often occurs suddenly without an obvious trigger, may be accompanied by a feeling of impending doom or anxiety, and tends to worsen rather than improve over time. The medical explanation is crucial to understand. When your heart isn't pumping effectively due to blocked arteries or rhythm problems, your brain doesn't receive adequate oxygen-rich blood. Your brain is extremely sensitive to changes in blood flow, so even small reductions in circulation can cause dizziness, lightheadedness, or feeling like you might faint. Unlike dizziness from dehydration or low blood sugar, heart-related dizziness doesn't typically improve with eating or drinking fluids. It may come in waves, often accompanied by other symptoms like nausea, sweating, or a rapid or irregular heartbeat that you can feel. If you experience sudden, unexplained dizziness, especially if it's recurring or accompanied by any other symptoms I've mentioned, do not wait to see if it improves. This could be your heart's final warning before a potentially fatal cardiac event. Call emergency services immediately or have someone drive you to the nearest emergency room. This symptom alone should never be ignored in women over 60. The window between the first episode of heart-related dizziness and a major cardiac event can be as short as minutes to hours. Don't become a statistic because you waited to see if the dizziness would go away on its own. Symptom number 5, unexplained pain in arms, jaw, or upper back. The fifth and final warning sign is pain that appears in unexpected places, your arms, jaw, neck, or upper back without any obvious cause like injury or strain. This type of pain is particularly deceptive because it occurs far from your heart, making it nearly impossible for most women to connect it to cardiac problems. Groundbreaking research from the American College of Cardiology found that 43% of women who suffered heart attacks experienced arm, jaw, or back pain in the days before their cardiac event, but only 12% made the connection to their heart. The remaining 88% attributed the pain to arthritis, sleeping wrong, dental problems, or muscle strain. Here's Maria's story. At 64, Maria woke up with a dull ache in her left arm that extended from her shoulder down to her elbow. She assumed she had slept in an awkward position and expected the pain to resolve throughout the day. When the pain persisted, she took over-the-counter pain medication and applied a heating pad. Over the next 3 days, the arm pain intensified and began spreading to her jaw and the area between her shoulder blades. Maria scheduled an appointment with her dentist, convinced she was developing TMJ or had a tooth infection. The dentist found no dental problems and suggested she see her physician about possible arthritis or a pinched nerve. Maria's primary care doctor ordered X-rays of her neck and shoulder, which showed normal age-related changes but nothing that would explain her level of discomfort. She was prescribed muscle relaxants and told to use ice and heat alternately. The pain medication provided temporary relief, which convinced Maria that she was dealing with a muscle or joint problem. The breakthrough came when Maria's pain suddenly intensified while she was grocery shopping. The ache in her arm became so severe that she couldn't lift items into her cart, and the jaw pain made it difficult to speak clearly. A store employee noticed her distress and called an ambulance when Maria mentioned she was experiencing unusual pain. At the hospital, an EKG revealed that Maria was having a heart attack. The emergency physician explained that the pain she had been experiencing for days was referred pain from her heart. When heart muscle doesn't receive adequate blood flow, the pain signals can travel along shared nerve pathways to other parts of the body, creating the sensation of pain in areas far from the heart. This phenomenon occurs because the heart and arms, jaw, and upper back share common nerve pathways that developed during fetal development. When your heart is in distress, these shared neural connections can create the sensation of pain in areas that seem completely unrelated to your heart. The characteristics of heart-related referred pain are important to recognize. This type of pain is typically described as aching, pressure, or heaviness rather than sharp or stabbing. It often affects the left arm more than the right, though it can occur in both arms. Jaw pain related to heart problems is usually felt in the lower jaw and may be accompanied by a sensation of pressure or fullness. Upper back pain from heart problems is typically felt between the shoulder blades and is often described as a burning or aching sensation that does not improve with position changes or typical back pain remedies. Unlike musculoskeletal pain, heart-related referred pain doesn't usually worsen with movement or improve with rest. What makes this symptom particularly dangerous is that women often treat it successfully with pain medication, heat, or massage, which provides temporary relief and reinforces the belief that it's a muscle or joint problem. However, heart-related referred pain tends to return and may gradually worsen over days or weeks. If you're experiencing unexplained pain in your arms, jaw, neck, or upper back, especially if it's persistent and doesn't respond well to typical pain remedies, consider the possibility that your heart may be sending you a warning signal. This is particularly important if the pain is accompanied by any of the other symptoms I've discussed today. Let me recap these 5 life-threatening warning signs that women over 60 consistently ignore: unusual fatigue that feels different from normal tiredness, mysterious nausea and digestive issues without an obvious cause, sudden shortness of breath during normal activities, sudden dizziness or lightheadedness that can progress to cardiac arrest in minutes, and unexplained pain in your arms, jaw, or upper back. Here's what I want you to understand: these symptoms are your heart's cry for help. They're not signs of weakness, aging, or something you should tough out. They're urgent warnings that could mean the difference between life and death. The women whose stories I shared today are the fortunate ones. They survived because they eventually sought help or someone insisted they get medical attention. But here's the reality that should terrify you: for every woman who survives to tell her story, there are others who dismissed these warning signs until it was too late. Don't become one of those statistics. Your life is too precious, and the people who love you need you here. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, especially if you're experiencing multiple symptoms, do not wait. Call 911 immediately or have someone drive you to the nearest emergency room. Tell the medical staff that you're concerned about your heart, even if they seem skeptical. Advocate for yourself and insist on cardiac testing, including an EKG and blood tests that can detect heart damage. Remember, time is heart muscle. Every minute that passes during a heart attack means more heart muscle dies. The faster you get treatment, the better your chances of survival and recovery. Don't worry about feeling embarrassed if it turns out to be something else. It's better to be embarrassed in a hospital than to be a statistic in a morgue. Here's your next step: share this information with every woman over 60 in your life. Send this video to your mother, your sister, your friends, your neighbors. You could literally save a life just by sharing this knowledge. These warning signs are too important to keep to yourself. Before you go, I want you to do 3 things. First, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm committed to sharing life-saving health information specifically for people over 60, and you don't want to miss content that could save your life. Second, give this video a thumbs up if it opened your eyes to warning signs you might have ignored. And third, leave a comment telling me which of these symptoms surprised you the most. Your heart has been beating faithfully for over 60 years. It's time to listen when it's trying to tell you something. Don't ignore the warning signs. Your life depends on it, and the people who love you are counting on you to take these symptoms seriously. Take action today, because tomorrow might be too late. Heart attack symptoms in women over 60 are not the same as what you see in movies. They're subtle, they're easily dismissed, and they're absolutely deadly if ignored. Now you know what to look for. Use this knowledge to protect yourself and the women you love. Their lives may depend on it.